Welcome, Heart and Soul Mother. I'm Jana from Soul Life Now, and today I want to talk about the responsible use of technology. And if you like what you've seen, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I give you very valuable content each week. But again, let's talk about the responsible use of the new technology. Let's get started. When it comes to the new technology, I think it is quite interesting that most people or most parents just hand this technology, being smartphone, PlayStation, the internet in general, the access to the internet in general, just easily over to the children without really talking to them about the safety issues that there are when it comes to these new technologies. And for me, it is almost like you would have your child when they are quite young, sending them out to the street without explaining to them how traffic works and how they have to look for cars and all that stuff, the rules that apply to the street, out on the street in traffic in general. You wouldn't do that either, right? So when it comes to the technology, get familiar with what your child should think about when they use the internet or the smartphone. When it comes to the question when your child should use the smartphone, please have a look in the description below. There I have a link to another video where I talk about that topic. But I don't want to talk about that now, so let's get into my take on what you should teach your child about this technology. Why should you do that? Well, because the internet isn't a safe place for children. Let's be honest. There is the topic of grooming or groomers. I don't know if you heard about that yet. If you haven't, please take a look. But in general, these are people who have no good intentions for your child and who seek out children in social media chats. They pretend to be the same age as your child, and then they ask them for inappropriate pictures, and that can lead to a whole series of something you don't want to be happening to your child. So that's one. On the other hand, all the different platforms they are, like liquor sites or sites where you can see violence, there is no a really valuable way of checking the age. If your child is over the age of 18, that's the legal age in Europe, or 21 as it is in the US. So children can just enter these sites, also adult content, without any barriers. So I think this is also something you don't really want for your child. As I know from so many conversations I have with mothers, mothers, and you as a mother know that you have an intuition that you feel like, oh, this isn't good for my child to have unlimited access to the internet at a certain age. So, and sometimes your partner might not be on the same page with you. But I can tell you, your intuition is your strongest tool in any case as a mother, and especially through being a mother, it got initiated again. We as women in general, this is our strong asset, intuition and instinct. And yeah, through being a mother, you have now a greater sense of this doesn't feel good. Follow that intuition and get into a good conversation with your partner on what to do about it. There was a fly. So let's talk though about the safety instructions you should give your child in any case. Never share personal information online, being your name, your address, your telephone number. Don't respond to emails, texts, or messages from strangers. Don't post or share photos online. Don't click links, open attachments, or accept gifts from someone you don't know. Never, never, ever agree to meet someone you met online. Never respond to a threatening email, message, post, or text message. Always tell a parent or other trusted adults about any communication or conversation that was scary or hurtful. I hope that makes sense to you, and please get into that conversation with your child, maybe even more than once. It's very important, and maybe write these rules down so that everybody can look at it. When it comes to the responsible use of technology, I think the question about that responsible use is also how much exposure should your child have to that technology during the day. It of course depends on if your child has already its own device or not, and how much access he or she has to your devices. In my opinion, your child shouldn't have its own device until he or she is 14. I would even say 16 in my case, because I just am very concerned about the free access to all that content. But of course, it depends on your circumstances, on your child, and how you think they are able to handle it. But I said it in another video that Bill Gates and Steve Jobs allowed their children to have a smartphone only when they were 14. So think about that. Why did they do it that way? And maybe you can get to that point as well. But in general, if your child has its own smartphone or has access to yours, you should take care of that they take a break after 1.5 hours. In another video, I talked about the health issues when it comes to the smartphone, and one of them is myopia or short-sightedness. And when your child is young, his or her eyes are still developing, and that goes on to they are 20 years old. And when they look too long closely to the smartphone, they might be more at risk to then have the need to get glasses. And when you get short-sighted at a young age, you have a higher risk of going blind when you are older. So make sure that they take a break after 1.5 hours at least, or after 1 hour, and that they get outside, because this is also very important for the eye to get outside, so the pupils adjust to the sunlight, so they get training in that as well with natural light, that they look afar. This is very important, so take care of that. You have to ask yourself, how does it feel for you? Just try it. If you are on the internet for 1.5 hours, how do you feel after that? So for your child, it should be even more strict to really let them take a break. And in the end, the balance should be more time spending with friends, outside, in a sports club, to be in actual connection with other human beings, because this is another point I want to make. How do children learn to deal with other people? It is in direct contact with them. And if they get lost in the social media world or on the internet in general, they don't learn these very, very important skills. And I know everything I'm telling you right now is something where you will get odd looks from other parents, other people, because they will tell you, but well, this is the new way and our children need to learn about that stuff. Well, true, but in the end, it is not that complicated to actually operate a smartphone or a laptop. You know, we learned it as young kids. And I can also see the point that people will say, well, then your child will be excluded from other children. And on that part, I have to say, well, what kind of children is your child associated with? And additionally, my tip then is try to find parents that think as you do. Or maybe you already know parents in the social group of your child who are also concerned. Let them know about the concerns you have and the facts that support your concerns. And if you need some facts, watch my other video about that. You can find the link to that video in the description below. But I think the argument is very, very weak to say, well, then my child gets excluded, because this is in opposition to, it is not very beneficial for your child to be on the internet all the time, or to have his or her own smartphone and to always just look at the smartphone. It is not healthy, it is not beneficial, and why should you do that to your child, you know? So try to find like-minded parents and try to find a different way and a different solution. This for me is very important. And heart and soul mother, of course, I know this takes a lot of strength from you. And in that case, I have to say, please start taking good care of yourself, of your energy, so you have the strength to really go through with your stance on usage of the new technology. Heart and soul mother, I hope you liked that video, and if you did, give me a thumbs up. If you have more questions, please get in contact with me. I do mentoring on this topic, and if you need support, I'm here for you. And subscribe to my channel to be on top of my new content when it comes out. I would highly appreciate that. So, heart and soul mother, please always remember, your energy comes first. That is me, Jana from Soul Life Now. So good to see you here. See you soon. Goodbye.